It's the parents. That
The parents want to come up too, they can come in back of us and take pictures or video.
Karen Arndt. I'm the librarian at the middle school. And I'm here to talk about the library program that we do. It's my third year there, and I think I was here 2 years ago presenting about my Mock Newberry Club, which I still have. I have done it for 3 years now, and I brought some students with me that were with the Mock Newberry Club and the subsequent clubs that I've been running. So I thought I would just quickly go through those and let them all speak to their experiences with the Mock Newberry Club. This year it ran a little differently. I was able to collaborate with fifth grade teachers and utilize the response to intervention block. So I got to see my Mock Newberry students every single day. It made a huge difference in how they interacted with the books and each other and with me. The excitement I saw was amazing. Let's switch to the next slide. I also have a sixth grade book club, which is my Mock Newberry students from last year. And those are some of the titles that they have read. And then just one more slide, and then I'll let those guys speak. I also have a seventh grade book club, which are my students from fifth grade and sixth grade are still with me in seventh grade. And these are some of the books that they have been reading. And so I thought they could all speak to their own experiences. Their time with the club. Anyone want to go first?
Hello. So I decided to join the book club with Shatter Me because I really wanted to try something new with like a different genre, and having the book club really helped me like explore more different genres and meet with new characters and follow them and see what there is.
I'll go next. I started the book clubs at the library 3 years ago when it first opened up. And I did the Mock Newberry Club, and that was really fun. That like hooked me on reading because before I was not a big fan of reading at all. But then when you find the right book, it's very easy to get hooked on it. I've been doing it since then. It's very fun.
I agree with that.
So I'll go. I also started the book club a few years ago, and I also wasn't a big reader, but it really made me love reading, and it's just like a really fun space to be for book club, and like be there with my friends.
I'll go next. So I joined book club last year in fifth grade, and since I've joined book club, I've read more books that like I wouldn't usually read, and I've noticed that I'm like actually enjoying them instead of just being like oh, I think I might like that one and reading it instead of just exploring my options.
I'll go next. I joined book club because I heard a lot of good things about it, and a lot of people that love and enjoy reading didn't like reading before, and after book club they loved it, and that has also impacted on how I love reading.
I joined book club in fifth grade, and I had already liked reading, but when you join book club, you're kind of forced to like expand what you like to read, and so it gets you into new books and new genres.
I have a couple more slides to tell you some other programming things that have been happening in the library this year. If you just again somewhere slide. I started a library leaders group. I tried to do this last year, but it just didn't quite get off the ground. But I took a page from my seventh grade book club and invited a few of them to help me do programming ideas and decorating. And it has turned into them coming every Wednesday for a weekly meeting where they decide what our programming is going to be and helps me make sure that the programming is interesting to them, because my ideas of what might be cool certainly do not quite meet their ideas of cool. So they keep me in the realm of middle school kids, which is really helpful for me. And it has been a lot of fun. A couple of them are my seventh graders, Camille and Julia and Molly and Brooke and Eva. They're all part of my library leaders and my book club. And if you turn the next page, something very exciting this year, thanks to the New Hampshire Book Festival, I was able to take 17 students to see Tilly Sutherland in October in Concord, which was done through book fair funds to pay for the tickets and the transportation, because I didn't know you had to pay for transportation, but that's okay. And they had a great time listening to her talk about her next book coming out. And then I just want to share with you a few library statistics since I had the floor, so to speak. So if you go to the next slide, I have this sign outside the library for like what a library is, because to me, it's not that place where you go and you shh the kids all the time anymore. It's a place for our students to come in and watch the elephants and the giraffes in the morning in Africa. And by afternoon, we switched over to the Ellen Kitten Rescue. I have puzzles going on. They can come in and just quietly read. My fourth graders are always coming in saying, can I sit and read for 15 minutes? Which is great. It's a place for them to do some research or just to have a quiet space if they need a break. One more slide. And so since I started 3 years ago, the statistics for circulation in my first year were about 2,400 books. My second year, was over 3,000. And this year, we're only 2/3 of the way through. We're at 2,200. So if I stay on track, I should hit over 4,000 books circulated this year. And then just a couple more. I also worked really hard at reading the collection. When I started there, the age of the collection was 2003. And there were over 10,900 books. And while this will sound really scary, we weeded about 6,000 books because they were 20, 30, 40 years old, hadn't circulated in 5, 10, 15 years. And so through that diligent weeding and bringing in new titles, the age of the collection is now 2013, which is still not quite where I want it, but it's a lot better than it was. And then curated resources, obviously our print books, the book clubs that I host, although I now need to add a 5th grade book club because my Mock Newberry ended, so I still do one with the RTI group. Databases, and I think the huge success this year has been the Playways. So I purchased Playways in November, and they are preloaded portable audiobooks that the students, it runs on a battery, it can slip into their pocket, and they can listen to a book, which helps those students who maybe are below grade level, can be reading the same book as their peers. Or it gives students who don't like to read an opportunity to explore reading in another manner because maybe they don't like the print book, but the audiobook engages them in a different way. So that has been very popular. I can't keep those on the shelf this year. And then the databases we have, when I started, we only had 2 databases, Learn 360 and World Almanac for Kids. I have curated and provided more databases, including the Encyclopedia Career Guidance Center, when the counseling department and the FCS does their research on careers, we have information for that. Hubble Go Next is probably the most heavily used database for 3rd through 5th graders. And Swipe Streaming License, we can now legally show movies during recess time when we need to. And then, of course, the book clubs that we already talked about. And then just some of the programming that we've done with the help of the students. And for Halloween, we did Tombstone Trivia. So we decorated the library with tombstones, and the answers were one of the dead authors on the tombstones. We did a holiday bingo where the students could earn a free book if they got a bingo there. And in February, we did Blind Date with a Book. And we did raffles, and we did a scavenger hunt, all through the help of my Library Leaders program. Any questions?
I'll send you a photo of everybody. What was your, if anybody can remember, what was your favorite Tombstone trivia?
There was like, I forget what it was, but there was like a person who lived in like Ireland, and you had to like try to like narrow down, like, because it gave you like what year it was, but it never told you like any other things. Like it told you, like, oh, they lived in Ireland and they made the book in this year. Just like limit down how old they were. Yeah.
A lot of y'all said that when you started, you weren't really fond of reading, but now you really are. Do you think it's the books you're reading, or just the fact that you have a group of folks to hang out with and talk about the book? Like, what is it that you think has helped you really start to enjoy what you're reading?
I think for me, it was that I could just talk to my friends about it and I got more involved. Because I wasn't really a fan of reading because there wasn't much to talk about. So when I joined, it was just I could express how I was feeling and get others' feedback.
For me, it was like that it kind of like pushed me to like read more. So I like enjoyed it more since I could read more.
Anyone else?
Was just not reading the right genre that I liked. So when I joined the club, I actually got to like explore different genres and found out which ones I liked.
Did you find that the more you read, the easier it gets?
What's your favorite book now?
I like one of our book club books I read in like sixth grade was called The Inheritance Games, and I've like been reading that series.
I read a book club like in fifth grade for one of the books, or was it this year, The Impossible Creatures?
Yes.
Yeah,
The first one this year.
yeah, I really liked it. It's like kind of like a mythical kind of a book. Like so, like a kid like traveled into like different, well, like mythical, like with griffins and stuff, those kind of mythical creatures. And it was just like this really fun story.
I liked The Shattered, and I kept reading the whole series.
I also did like the Shiny series. I currently have like more books to read, but once I get to the Shiny series, I'll definitely get to.
I have a question for you. You said you had about 11,000 books. Now you have 6,500. Do you have a target number, or is there a certain number of books that you should have, or would?
I can set my own. The circulation system, the vendors that I use allow kind of curate my resources and give me statistics, which is how I know the age of the collection. And they recommend 20 books per student. I don't focus so much on the number of books per student, but that I have books that are of interest to my students, and 20 books per student might not be enough. If there's a wide variety of interests, then I would only have 1 or 2 books that interest a student that wouldn't sustain them for 5 years. So I don't focus on a target number. I focus on, do I have what my students are looking for?
Do you have? Do you need books, or
I always need more books. There's always new books coming out that will appeal to the students. So some of the things that have been on the shelf for a long time just become outdated and not of interest to them anymore. It's just kind of like TV shows where like this was fascinating 20 years ago and it's not anymore. So it's important to stay up with the interests of the student. So constantly, and weeding never ends. Like you're constantly looking at that collection every year and making sure that they're circulating, that they're interesting. And so sometimes it means bringing in new books. Through my other job, I'm able to bring them in more frequently because I'm at Barnes & Noble a couple times a week. So I'm able to bring in like what's already come in instead of waiting for one of my long-term vendors to get it, ship it, and send it to me. I can have them in the school in a day or two.
So I have a question. So how do you process which old books are kind of like outdated? Because I know throughout basically all of high school, we were reading like really, really old books. Like right now I'm reading Fahrenheit 451, and that's like from 1956, I think. So, so I'm just wondering like, what's the line between like, maybe not exactly exciting stories, but like really classics and other stuff. You know what I mean?
So some of that would be curricular. I'm hazarding a guess that Fahrenheit 451 is a curricular topic for
Yeah.
ELA or social studies. So they have their classroom collections to support that.
Okay.
My interest in the library, although I do support the classrooms right now, one of the fifth grade teachers is using the Labor Support Please Field, which was a Mockingbird choice 2 years ago. She's using it for RTI group. I like to focus on the ones that the kids want to read. The classics that I still have gone into my 800 section for literature instead of in the fiction section. So that should somebody want Fahrenheit 451, I can say, sure, we have it. And it's a dusty old copy that was published in 1946, but I can say something else current that you might like more.
I mean, I know in the high school, we're not getting close to 33,000, 3,300 books read or anything like that. Yeah. I know they used to have a book club in the high school. I don't know, can't remember exactly when. So I'm looking at Pete behind everybody going, maybe it would be nice if we could start something up again here. Yes, I could definitely see some of our books being on the older side, because when we got here, I got here 12 years ago, we were working on curriculum books because some of those were 25 years old and they had presidents that were already passed away. It was the last president that was in the books. So we've definitely,
Union.
yeah, we've definitely tried to make, you know, progress on our curriculum books, but maybe we need to start making progress on our library books.
Be great. I'm working on mine, always bringing in new stuff. And a lot of times the kids are telling me what they want. And then I'm checking to make sure it's age appropriate for middle school. And if it is, then I'm like, yeah, we'll bring that one in. There are some that they ask for that I'm like, no, it's a high school.
Do you work with the Dudley Tucker Library at all?
I don't have the opportunity to do that. I know that Heather at the elementary school does frequently, but I have not.
I would reach out to them because they're in the process of a whole restructuring and interested in starting new programs and
I should reach out to them for the month Newbury because there could be some homeschool kids that want to participate.
anything else?
No, very cool program. Nice job, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Public hearing.
You read it? The public hearings to discuss the warrant article regarding open enrollment on the Raymond School District warrant. Warrant article number 2 regarding open enrollment reads as follows. Shall the Raymond School District vote to adopt the provisions of NHRSA Chapter 194-D and become an open enrollment school district under the terms of the RSA and to omit 0 students from outside the Raymond School District to grades preschool through grade 12 in the Raymond School District, and to establish that 0% of the resident student population are eligible to seek enrollment outside of the district. Recommended by the school board, 4 yes, no 0. The RSA references the need to hold a public hearing prior to vote. However, our attorney has advised he believes this only applies in a district that does not hold an annual meeting. He also said that even so, there is nothing wrong with holding an extra hearing on the question because it's a new law. To make sure we meet all requirements, we are holding this hearing for any members of the public who would like to discuss this warrant article.
Also, you can't change anything, right? So we're just going through the motions because.
Yep.
Anything?
Open it up.
Well, open the public hearing.
We'd have more folks though.
So, the public hearing is open, if you'd like to speak. To do this first time, anyone spoke at a public hearing.
Good evening, Doug Vogel, resident. I know I spoke once before, and as I thought I just heard the chair, it was hard to hear back there, all the great things the kids did. I kind of think this hearing is misplaced in accordance to RSA, and I think in all reality, I think you may be found invalid, and I'm concerned about that. Not meeting the RSA requirements. So I'm concerned that if that happens, because it says prior to the vote was deliberative session, and that is what's held up all of the times that we. So I don't know where did you get legal counsel that says the vote is March 10th? Or did you get legal counsel on definition of vote? Because every time in my previous jobs, the vote was always deliberative session.
Let me read that paragraph again.
I'll just say that our attorney has advised us that what we're doing is correct.
I'm sorry that you have that attorney in my.
Okay.
Wow. So
But there's nothing we can do to change it.
That's why I'm concerned that this may be invalid. And if it's held up and invalid, you automatically come a 100% in and out.
But to your point, it wasn't voted on at deliberative. The vote would be in March,
It
no?
was voted on in their session. We're a two-vote town,
It was voted to amend it, but
And then put it on the ballot.
yeah,
right? So that's a vote by New Hampshire State item. So that's concern. And I do not want to get argument of it. It's just, I'm concerned about that. I brought it up at the meeting.
put things on the ballot, they were
So,
good.
I mean, I can read the RSA like anybody else can, but the public can read it. It's RSA 194D3, Section 1B2. So if anybody can read that. I will have to say again, my concern is we have students, and I know we can't change it, and that's what makes the hearing really, because that's the purpose of hearing, is to hear the people before you go to deliberative. So this is not in the intent of New Hampshire state law. I have concern that we have people, kids in our school district, that you have done the best you can, the staff has done the best they can. And there may be one or two that may need more than what you can hand it. And it's not that anything you do is purely, they just don't fit in Raymond for whatever reason. And they're not given that opportunity to go out in accordance with this RSA. They may be in some other ways. If a kid is bullied, you can send a kid out because by petition, his parent can come in and do that. And I know that does happen sometimes. I'm really concerned about that. Now, next year, we can change the numbers. We can change the percentages. I got that. I think it's a great opportunity to bring money in, 80% in. I know you'd rather have a whole school district such as Chester, Deerfield, or whatever come here. I understand that. But you're able to set limitations by school, by numbers, by class, by subject. So the fear that was mongreled and the sky was falling in the recession and they all come to high school is not true because you can set that. So
Can you tell me again what that RSA was?
194.
Yeah, he had a specific subsection I wanted to.
Yeah, 194 D3 1B2.
Thank you.
It just says before the vote. So many days before the vote, you have the public hearing and 7 days in a newspaper prior to so forth. So I just wanted to show my disappointment in not allowing a small percentage to come in and out. I understand I wouldn't want to do, I proposed higher, but I understand a small percentage.
So to just comment on that, I believe that it was a voted down amendment at deliberative session. So it wasn't that I voted in favor of amendment, but it was ultimately voted down by the people. So if you want to be disappointed, anybody, be disappointed at the people that voted against it, not us.
I understand. And then, okay, to your point, sir, is that the stuff that was stated up at the stage was scare tactic.
And some of the stuff on the floor was as well.
So, because you're not going to get 110 coming to the high school. So to scare that was not appropriate when the RSA purely counts that. So, and we know 80% comes out. If a higher school that pays more per student would come to us, you'd actually get more money than you'd send that student out, or vice versa, it varies. But that is, I think, sometimes a scare tactic, but that's Doug's opinion only, and I accept
It's
it.
not a scare tactic though to say that if 100 kids left, it would increase your taxes by $2 million. That's a fact. That's a fact. And you admitted that you didn't think that this is a desirable district, that people at this moment would be wanting to come here.
I
The
agree.
probability of more kids leaving than coming would just increase your taxes substantially.
I agree with you, sir.
Okay,
I,
as long as we can agree on that.
and then I would think that when the school in the capitalistic business
Mhm.
would improve, no matter where you're at, you can always improve.
Mhm.
And as you improve, more people will come to you. If you make a better donut, more people's gonna buy your donut. If you make a worse donut, you're gonna go down.
Not making
Your
donuts,
Stores go to 2.
trying to
1.
teach kids.
Right.
It's not the same thing.
It's a product, and I treat it as a product because it's a human beneficial life that graduates at age 18 to enter society that is capable of work, business, and everything. I know it's a human being, but that's just where I'm coming from. It's,
Again, to sit there and imply that the kids that are graduating from the school are not all of those things, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
I do think one of
they
the
all can be
biggest,
better, that's all I'm saying.
Everyone can be.
everyone can be better. I'm sure you could be better. at your job.
Guess what? There was
So here's-
right here, you could have took, if you want to make it that much better. If you have that much of an interest,
Here's the situation. You're looking at this, to me, Steve's opinion, in the wrong way, because this isn't a widget business. We're in the public service business. There is no statistic for every specific child out there that can be held across the board. We can measure trends. We can see where grades go. We can see what works and what doesn't work. But we're not in the business of manufacturing a widget. And we also don't ask, I wouldn't go ask Tony, hey, I want to buy my widgets over in Portland, Maine. Can you help me pay for Portland, Maine widgets? That's not okay either. So there's a lot of things with this situation that we did talk about that are important. But, and we've had this conversation, you and I specifically, many, many times. And I understand your disappointment. I do disagree with you. I think the vote, if we have two votes, then both votes need to have occurred for this to have been invalid, and the second vote hasn't yet occurred. So that's just this difference in that definition. But we are trying to keep this school district on the upward trajectory that it's in. In the last 4 years, 5 years that I've been here, behavior's gone down, academics have gone up, everything's in a positive trend. So the concern that we went through was, to your point, Tony, that if we lose 100 kids, if we say, oh, 100 kids can leave, that's 100 kids worth of money leaving the district, and likely not 100 coming in. So we have to, and when we budget, for the record, for anyone who might be listening, we can't budget for unknown income. So we could get 700 kids who want to come here. That would be amazing. We can't budget that until they show up at our door with a check in hand. We have to budget for the 100 kids that are leaving. Because we have to, when we put our budget together, we have to say, if 100 kids leave our district, we have to be able to withstand the loss of 100 kids worth of revenue from our taxes. So that will absolutely, no matter how many make it coming in, increase the taxes for the taxpayers in this town, because we have to account for that money leaving town. Whether they leave or not, we have to account for it. It's the same problem we have every year when folks say, you always have money left over. It's like, no, we have to account for the number of teachers we need. If we don't hire them, we use that money in other ways, but we have to account for it. So it's not as simple as let 10 leave. There's a lot of factors that go in, and it's not because we're not interested in enhancing the school, but I think sometimes maybe in the essence of brevity, I think sometimes you boil stuff down too much to specific RSAs and specific line sightings, and to say that, you know, as they're desirable or not desirable school system, we are here for the kids in this school, and we can't just classify them by a percentage. We have to be here as a public service. School is not meant to be a moneymaker. It's gonna be a cost every time. Doesn't matter where you go. Schools are a cost. Maybe universities make money. Public schools are a cost, but they're not throwing money away. They are investing in our kids' future. It's an investment that this town makes. And some people don't like that investment. I understand that. Some people think that investment's too high, and I understand that too. But it's not done arbitrarily or frivolously. It's done because based on the specialties of the folks that we hired Terry, Terry's hired the rest of the administration. These folks know what they're doing. We rely on them to do what they're doing, and they have proven in the past few years that it's all benefit and bonus. Everything is getting better. Can it still get better? 100%. No one has ever said we're done growing. But if we kind of cut our own noses off to spite our face at this point by losing public trust and losing revenue, it could start to hurt, because the programs that we have in place do cost money. So if we lose that money, or we have to ask the taxpayers of this town, who've already asked us to cut our budget twice, we need you now to give us an extra $2 million to account for the kids who are leaving. So it's a balancing act that goes far beyond do we want to let people have choice? We would love to, but unless the state starts to open up some secret coffer of money somewhere, that falls on everybody in town to help us pay for. And I think we've come to understand that that's not something folks are really wanting to do, to have taxes go up even higher.
I have a question, if I may. You
Please.
say something? Oh, if you have a comment you'd like to make, you can.
Well, I'm glad it's a hearing, and I'm hearing you defend your point. When a hearing has been for the people, for you to hear the people,
We're hearing you.
okay? This
I was
hearing,
responding to what you said.
listen and move on.
Wait, so
Disagree, but it's hearing.
we're not allowed to comment during a hearing?
You're allowed whatever you want, your board, all right? I'm just fine.
So my only thing is when you come here and you make a point, I'm just trying to make my point. I'm not gonna sit here and have a one-sided argument. That's not a hearing, that's a monologue. So my question to you or anyone is, all these people that are willing to, open up enrollment and they're for the betterment of the children. If we came to you and said, we have a plan for the betterment of the children, it's gonna cost us $1.3 million. You say absolutely not, like everybody else, and then again, try to cut the budget. But why is everybody lining up to send that potentially 1.3 to other towns? When you could invest that money in this district and get the results you want, instead of trying to cut the budget, invest that money that you're willing to ship out on a bus into the district. And maybe this wouldn't be an issue.
No, sir.
Sure.
You're not shipping out on a bus.
Okay, their parents are driving.
Right, so there's no extra bus. So it's those kinds
They're
of.
taking our money with them.
Well, we're giving 80% of what we get. So we actually keep 20%. Okay. So the aspect about budgeting, completely understand. The RSA requires you to budget in and out.
Mhm.
So the fact that you're only discussing budgeting out, that is inappropriate. You also have to budget revenue. And the RSA says that, just like you have to budget potential grants. You may not get them. You may get them. All right.
So
You may have kids leave, you may have kids come. You're required by the RSA even now. And that's why I asked the question under the recession, do you have a budget line item? And the answer was, yes, you do. It should be in revenue and expenditures. I expect both those to be zero this year based on what was proposed. Okay? There's no right answer. It's
how would we budget for revenue on that end? Like, how do you estimate that?
Well, I'm to be honest with you, there's only one district in this area that's allowing students to leave.
But to his point, if we had to estimate revenues, how would you even do that?
How could you, if we say we were gonna allow 100 kids in,
Is there,
how could you account for that?
is there a way to do that?
So you want to go first, John?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So we had multiple conversations with this RSA coming to fruition during budget season. For the most part, what a lot of people were doing was just budgeting for $1 in the expense and $1 in the revenue, which is what we discussed here and what we did. If we, clearly, if we knew how many students were going out and how many students were coming in, we could estimate that better. But with this situation, we do not. I do believe with what Terry is saying, I feel like it would be more difficult to account for the revenue. Either way, it's difficult, but the revenue coming in, we really wouldn't be able to count on that because like Terry said, none of the school districts, their warrant articles are pretty much the same as ours, not allowing students to leave. So if they're not allowing their students to leave, they're not going to come here, correct? If they wanted to leave, then that's going to hurt us even more because that's going to be money going out.
So if we say we knew we had, if our numbers were currently 50 in, 50 out, could you, I think it would be easier to account for the 50, the expense of 50 students leaving because we know what 80% of our numbers are.
Correct.
How could you account for what the number of 50, assuming other kids were even coming? This is, I guess, super hypothetical at this point. Could you even account for how much was coming in without knowing?
Historical data of any kind.
Well, if we had no kids who had put, I don't even know, I'll call it an application for lack of a better term. If we had nobody who had yet applied to come to Raymond, can we even think about counting revenue from any students? if we say we're gonna take 50, but no one's applied to come here, how do we account for revenue? Because we don't know where they're coming from or how
We don't-
much 80% of their.
You
budget
don't-
is.
Exactly.
So we can't budget for 50 coming in revenue if we don't know that that's gonna happen.
Correct.
So that was my concern.
Understand, if you did 50-50.
I'm just asking questions on
No,
how
no,
the
I
process would work, because
understand. This is all-
I'm trying to figure out I'm just trying to figure out how you would budget for
Well,
that.
to me, the reality of life is right now, it takes two legislative bodies to approve it. So it takes Raymond and some other legislative body within a general vicinity that would authorize it also. So it'd take two. Right now, Raymond has up in the warrant for 0-0. As long as it passes a 0-0, you're 0. If it fails, you're 100%. It's all or nothing this year until the state changes or whatever else. It would take another town to pass some number
Or fail.
or they fail. So I'm going to use for example only. If Candia fails and Raymond fails,
Mm.
your kids 100% can do this.
Mhm.
Will they? I don't see that. Okay, you're gonna have a budget item of 1. The school that has probably a better visual, I mean, that's why we buy certain books, we buy certain food, it has a better visual, may attract more students. I don't know. And it's a shoot right now. I understand. You're throwing it in and throwing the dart up. I got it. But if you're doing 50-50, I would probably go 80%, 80%. And you can sit there and say, within 30 miles or 20 miles, here's all the schools and their averages. It's real quick math. I'd budget for the average within 20 miles school district around. Okay, it's a swag. Hey, you guys know what a swag is, right?
I'm not a Navy guy.
Scientific, wild, a guess. Okay, it's a swag. All right. So it's
What was that again?
scientific, wild, a guess.
And no swag was
I'm
actually.
gonna need to know that in the future at some point.
Okay, it's,
That was something that
I'm a
got.
retired. We got acronyms for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what Navy stands for, right? Never again volunteer yourself. Okay, so, I mean, I'm not here to pick a fight with you, please.
I'm not here.
I understand, but I wish we would have done something. The people, I think, the people didn't at this time around. I got it. If it was 2%, I would have been happy. Because then you could choose. You could have said 2% per school. That way you couldn't do 3% out of one school.
So my
That's
question,
all.
my
That's-
question about
that's my
that,
opinion. I'm inputting.
not to talk over you, but so say we did want to do that, and I think the amendment was 10 in, 1 out, right?
Forget what it was.
So, but the the condition would have had to been put in there if, like he's saying, we wanted to control, okay, only at the high school, only at the middle school. We couldn't do that after.
You could do it by the RSAs, and I pick up this nice computer, is March 11th, after the vote, you could have had your next meeting and says, we said 10% or we said 2%. We're limiting to somebody at this school, somebody at this school, somebody at this school, or somebody at this grade.
That after the warrant article?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. So there's a lot there, but the reality of life is, I do agree with, I think what Terry said and everybody, as Ms. Blount said, is that very few schools are going to put any number in. I don't even know what school has approved it. But I think what's going to do, it's going to build every school to compete more against themselves for your next abutting town. I think that's what you're going to see if there was there. It's not,
But I think the unintended consequences here are going to be, Joe, you got something you want to say? Go ahead.
there's unintended consequences. I agree with you.
I'll get back to my point.
So 2 things with that. The 80%, yeah, it's the number they put out there. What they don't tell you is that we get our state aid by daily average attendance. Where now the average attendance is going down here, we're losing that as well. So we could actually be paying more, losing more money, per se, than we would be getting if we just kept a student in Raymond. Because we could be getting the $18,000, would be 14, get 80%. I'm just using numbers, throwing it out there. It'd be 14,400. Then if we had $5,600 from the state, we'd actually giving we'd be losing 19,000.
So to
19,000.
your point, sir, is that we know this school right here used to have a significant more amount of kids in it. Significant. They went somewhere. Don't know. Okay. If you added that significant back here into this school, or across our whole district, because we've lost, what we said, 11% over the last 5 years. Okay, it is, I know, it's scary. But if we added 10% back, your cost per student will go down even with 80% coming back. If you only got 80% of those brown towns coming back in, your average cost per student would go down. So in that aspect, the taxes would go down if you're able to attract students in. And that's, I think, the intent was for schools, but you may lose initially.
But that costs money to attract kids in.
To be a better business and attract customers in, you have acquisition costs.
Mhm.
You have cost per coming in a door. It's all business models.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is what New Hampshire State has tried to done, is compete schools against schools in local areas to drive up
But
where
here-
you're at better. So it is what it
But
is.
my point was going to be that what happens when you get all these, what Walmart did to every small hardware store?
Put them out of business.
Right. And then the issue there is you have one of those in a town and you got 6 towns that, a lot of these towns, the school district is the largest employer in town. So you start closing down schools. You've heard Bruce Springsteen songs before, I'm sure. You know what happens when the factory closes down, and then what? What does that do for your property value when there's no jobs or nothing to do there? And again, the largest employer was just closed down and consolidated. And again, we have 300 people in the district, and half of those people live in this town. So, you start closing down schools, you're putting 150 Raymond residents out of work. These are things people don't consider. And then what does that do again for your property value? I'm not opposed to it, but the way it's written, it's not going to help us because we're not one of those larger, we're not Walmart.
We're not attracting students at this moment. And
Again,
as you get better, as the school continues to get better, as you continue to repeat it's an opportunity to open up a little bit, open up the dribble, not the floodgates, the dribble, and allow them to come in. And as you improve and continue to improve, you can bring in more.
we would do it. Someone didn't keep trying to cut our budget.
I don't cut it, I just try. Okay, I'll be honest.
Joe?
I just try. I do this every year, but I just do it.
I mean, go
Okay,
on.
we're all friends here.
Yeah, we all got a job to do.
And look at it, yes, it would be nice if we got that 80% in, but even if we lose 10 or 20 kids out, that cost, goes up. And the next year, to cut that 80% is increased to the towns we're giving to. That's one of the reasons why I don't like this law, because it doesn't make any sense. Because now the town that is actually losing students is even giving more money and more money and more money to other towns. And I would love to sit there and say we can attract the best teachers, but we've looked to invest in teachers. And we even got voted down one year because they didn't want to pay the teachers more money. So the next year it was, gave a little bit now and a little bit later. I mean, we're still, if not one of the lowest districts in Southern New Hampshire, we're the lowest district in Southern New Hampshire for starting wages for teachers. I mean, we're still not, I think we paid 40 maybe this year, but
So I got a question about, what does it do for the cost per student if students, our daily attendance is down because we have students leaving the district, and then on top of that, we're paying those students to be gone, right?
you lose the state aid,
So-
that daily attendance different.
Right, but does our cost per student now 35,000 because our daily attendance numbers are so low, and then our budget continues to increase because we got kids going out of district? Well, so then what does your
Be a snowball effect.
I don't know what that would look like. Steve?
I think there's a couple things. I think part of what you guys are saying and highlights to me is there's too many unknowns right now. I don't think anyone here is saying we don't ever want to try this or we won't ever be open to it. But the state threw some stuff at us and said, just do it. And there's so many questions about how this town would be impacted. And I think everybody said it at this point, including yourself. It's an investment, but it's very hard to keep our investment and to, again, we have made how many strides in the last 3 to 5 years? Everything's getting better. And I keep hearing from people that we're not. You yourself have said, well, maybe you're not getting better. Other people are just you're not getting better. People are just getting worse, which is the most negative way I've ever heard someone look at positive growth. But everyone has their way to look at this, but we are every year coming out here saying, look at what we're doing, putting in new programs, we're getting better. We'd rather, to Tony's point, have this town want to invest in this school. The school is a good school. It's a great school. We have kids who leave here and go to Ivy League schools. Now, is every kid going to an Ivy League school? Of course not, but that never happened in any high school. We have many kids who leave here and lead very productive lives without ever going to college, and that's fine too. That's their choice. But they get a great education here. So if you want to make this a wide open commercial situation, then we need this town to say to us, okay, well, we'll help you invest in this school and make it the best school so we can bring more students in and we can be a lower cost per student and we can even have more revenue than we ever knew what to do with because we have so many kids who want to come here. But what I've seen over the past few years is it's the reverse, that folks are, and understandably so, everything's getting more expensive these days. And so they're trying to keep those prices down. So yes, it's a lot of this decision is there's too much volatility in the market, if you will, to know how well can we really balance this, because we still have a student body who live here in town who want great education that these three schools can give them. And if we jeopardize that by opening the floodgates up to any degree, are we really doing our job as a school board to support the education of the students of Raymond? That's our job. Our job is not to give money to Epping or Candia. Our job is to support the education of the students in this town and do it with as much of a balanced budget as we can. That's our primary objective. His job is to do it smartly. Our job is to help him with that and to do it as reasonably priced as we can. And yeah, Terry had something too. Sorry.
I have nothing against it. My only issue is that the state needs to figure out how to regulate it. I'm just being honest. Right now, we have kids going to charter school, special ed costs. How's that built? It's an argument between us and the charter school, how it's built. If it's a one-on-one, we'll pay it. If it's a 1-on-5, that's how it should be built. It's not necessarily built that way. So to get those bills back or that evidence is painstaking. So we have to hire people to chase that money down or what I want to say, fight the bill. So I have no issue with any of this. It's just that in my mind, Doug, this, if we have 10 kids go out and we want 15 to come in, it's going to be a lottery. Well, when that student who decides, oh, I don't like how that lottery was won, what are they going to do? They're going to sue. So they're going to have to work all this out in the court system. The state needs to come up with defined, precise rules, regulations around all of it. And then, I'll be honest with you too, they need to help fund it a little more than $4,000 per kid. And I'm ballparking, I think it's 4,500, but that's what has to happen. Again, I have no issue with it, but they need to, I don't want to be the one, I don't want Raymond to be the one leading the Wild Wild West. And then I'm going to, the Supreme Court for a hearing because somewhere along the line, and I wasn't dotted or T wasn't crossing, it wasn't us doing it. We just didn't know what to do or how to do it. And again, you love attorneys. All you got to do is talk to 3 different law firms and all 3 of them are going to have a different opinion on how this is all going to work out. And that's just, as my dad said, don't buy anything that's the first. Let them figure it out. And then you go ahead, don't buy a car with anti-lock brakes until they figure it out. So that's kind of I'm not against it. I just don't think we need to be jumping in with both feet just yet. Let somebody else figure it out. Let the lawsuits figure it out. Let the courts or the state or whoever set rules that actually will work.
I appreciate your time, gentlemen, and now. So thank you. I know this discussion was all for discussion because there's not a bloody thing you can do at this moment.
No, but I mean, to your point, there are discussions that have to happen.
I am concerned though, because I'm afraid all or nothing is rough. And that's
There's about
Doug,
at least 6.
you're right. Who knows when the courts figure it out? Being honest with you.
I just looked it up and there's at least that I saw quickly about 8 other districts that are doing them now.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
everybody's doing it.
because they fast tracked this thing without really thinking it through and nobody, again, this is even a question now, when is the hearing supposed to be? Nobody's even clear on that.
I don't know. I know the nearest district near us is Pembroke. Oh, who's letting in and out? That's the nearest one.
If
But everybody's doing this warrant article.
Yeah, 0-0.
Simple. right?
Yeah.
So, thank you very much.
You keep bringing up Deerfield, they didn't even address it.
So they're,
So,
It's not
So
even, it's not even on their
so they
ballot.
will become 100%.
by default,
Yeah.
every Deerfield kid could come to Raymond. So
Right.
Terry, start making some calls.
Nice,
Does anyone have anything else to the,
I'm new to this. I respect everything you guys are doing and there's so much more to it, but as a parent,
name please?
Kristen Ennis, sorry. So am I understanding that if, as a parent and a taxpayer, if I wanted or had a child that I felt would thrive someplace else, that would not be an option that I could take for my kid? Is that what this is about? Is it a
Well,
hard no?
There are other venues that you can take. Best interest,
Not about like,
hardship. There's other venues that,
just a student who I felt needed more. And so this would be saying that, no, you can't make that decision for your child.
You currently can't.
My next door neighbor actually went to the charter school in Nashua because she wanted to, at the time she wanted to be a scientist. She completely took a left-hand turn when she graduated, but at the time she wanted to be science, and that charter school in Nashua is one of the best scientific research, for students and stuff like that in the state.
yeah.
So she went there.
So I'll make it simple. If you're asking the question, if you wanted to go to Epping?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
This,
And it just comes down to money.
Well, I think
Is it-
too, the answer is you can probably work out a deal to send your child to any school, but it wouldn't be at the expense of Raymond school system.
Or Raymond taxpayer.
And that's the difference that we're talking about here is in reality, anybody in town can take their student and send them anywhere they want to send them on their own expenses. What this open enrollment does is it puts the burden on the town to pay 80% of our expense, our cost per student to that town. So whether it's a special ed school or a charter school, I have a neighbor who has sent his daughter to Pinkerton and he has to pay that cost.
Yeah.
But it's a choice that they made. And so it really doesn't come down to, can you go? I mean, I guess it really would be down to Epping if they wanted to accept the student in, and then what the cost per attendance would be, right? This is really more about the structure of the finances and the openness of, can anybody just go anywhere?
So pretty much it's just to circumvent the state law that they did too quickly, that I'm not, but it's also to kind of stop that from happening.
correct.
Which in the meantime, it takes a lot, it's not going to get fixed overnight or figured out, but a few years,
Yep. I'm
you're out of
fortunate.
they're out of the school system at that point. So if you're saying no one in, no one out, you're like locking it in. I don't know that that's really fair.
Well, it doesn't stop anyone from leaving. It just means you can't leave under the auspices of open enrollment. So,
And also taking any money out of the district.
Right.
Right.
right. So we're not saying no one
As
can
a
leave.
taxpayer, as a parent and a taxpayer. I mean, that's,
Just to that point though, as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay for his kid to go to another school.
Right.
Or his kid when he has a kid. I already paid for him to go to school. I don't want to have to pay for him to go to another school.
it's a school year. Isn't that
Grandkids?
more of a personal decision? In my opinion, it is.
In my opinion, the state needs to pay what they're supposed to pay for adequacy. So your tax dollars go to the state and the state says, all right, we're going to give everyone this amount of money. And then instead of, the roles will be reversed. Raymond will be, the state would give us 16,000. Raymond would pay 4,000. And then I think the state could say, hey, we're going to have open enrollment.
Right.
So that, my money's not my, I live in Fremont. I don't want my tax, and I'm being honest with you, I don't want my tax dollars going to Raymond.
Even
I
with,
work here.
even with school choice, you get the voucher for 6,000 and you'd be on the hook for the rest of that as well.
You can do an EFA too, yeah. Yeah, so
Matters.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think you're right. That I have no options. The system just needs to be fixed right. And my opinion, it's not right the way it is. I do think that they need to figure it out. And again, it's just not this. When you start talking special ed and the costs and how that's billed and, the costs that go along with that, they're astronomical. And so again, what control does Raymond have when Epping says this is what this costs? You have to pay the bill.
Yeah.
For the record,
It's
That I don't understand.
so
I
complicated.
heard,
we're all taxpayers,
Yep,
I would not have said
Yep.
that.
but, you know, but we're all taxpayers and we all have kids in the district. And
Yeah.
I want the best education for my student. And again, I wouldn't expect them to have to pay for my kids to go to another school because I didn't want my kids going here for whatever reason.
Or though, are
They would be paying more. Yes, they would be paying more if we have to pay $20,000 per student to send them to another town.
Yeah,
Is
'cause
that like just anticipating that if we,
Oh, that's an actual
by the way,
expense.
my
Okay, go ahead.
question was, are we anticipating that there would be this mad exodus from the school district?
Either way, you have to pay
What
it.
if, you know,
If it's-
what if people are happy?
If it's 10 kids, it's, it's
But
10
there's
kids,
one kid.
it's $120,000.
I can't.
What's that?
What if there isn't, what if everyone's happy, but there might be one or
I
two
know.
kids that
But that
parents
kid,
want them to go someplace else, but they don't have that option. We're just, are you assuming it's going to be?
Well,
they can, but the taxpayers aren't going to be obligated to pay for that.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
this,
They can go wherever they want.
Yeah, no, I disagree with
yeah,
that.
Okay.
all this does is give us the control to say, we're accepting what they've told us, but we're gonna control the valves on the flood, if you will, whether it's a drip or a flood.
Yeah,
We now have the control to say, we can do this slowly. So again, to Doug's point, if next year there's a desire to change it to 5% and 5%, then we can say, okay, we can experiment with a smaller number and we can see what that does to us and what the impact is. If we don't have any control, it's not about stopping kids from leaving. There's many ways you can send your kid to another school. From anything from moving to another town to paying for it. Like, there's no one saying your student can't go to another school. We're just saying we
it's not gonna come out of the budget.
it doesn't need to, if it, in our budgets, if, I'm not sure how much you watch all the stuff that we do. It's a hard fought budget as it is. There are always cuts that come our way and we every year debate losing teachers and every year debate what we can do. And so a threat to the budget, if you call it that, is hard because if your student or if one student takes $15,000 away, it doesn't change the expenses here. So that 15,000 has to be made up from somewhere else. So it means it takes away from other stuff. So theoretically, what I think.
In a sense, you're paying 30,000 for that student, right?
Right, because we have to pay for them to go out, but we still have to cover the kids that are still here. And maybe there's a tipping point where there's not enough kids here that we lose teachers, but then now we start to shrink and now we can't offer as many programs. Maybe we can't offer sports. I don't know that we'd ever get to those numbers, to be honest with you, but it's because we don't know if it's going to be 0 or 100.
I just figured the
Yeah.
0 is pretty, I mean, it's just closed. There's no, is that a double? 0 is it like?
Well, it's going on the
That's what's
ballot.
on the ballot.
It has to be voted on.
I mean, one of the biggest things is, especially for high school, especially at high schools this small, we do offer programs that you can get, at a lot of high schools. Say we have AP classes, honors classes and stuff like that. Sooner or later, there's a tipping point where you can't offer AP classes, So what are you gonna do with those students now? They're not getting the AP classes or certain honors classes. We have SST. We continue with SST if we have less kids going there, because if there's less kids going overall to SST, because now they can go to Manchester, say. Not saying people would want to go to Manchester, but they have their own program in Manchester they could be going to. And it's not, they wouldn't have to do a half a day traveling, and then going back to school and trying to fit in their classes and stuff like that. So we try to do as much as we can for the students here. And even just taking a little while, you could be asking students to maybe miss out on things that they would be able to take now.
Mhm.
And I'd hate to see those students miss out.
Yeah.
One thing I heard when I was sitting at the State House 2 weeks ago is we can't afford it. Well, they couldn't afford paying what the Supreme Court suggested they pay per student for everybody, even though they were able to cut the interest and dividends tax. And they were also able to give in school vouchers another $110 million out, which would have basically paid for exactly what the Supreme Court asked for. But they decided they wanted to go a different route. That's their prerogative and that's what they did.
It does stink that it's all, it's all about money. It should be about education,
I agree with you. I mean, when it comes down to paying teachers, like I said, I think we just hit $40,000 this year for a, student starting out of college. That's what, I don't know why anybody would become a teacher and then take a job for 40 grand, because you can't even pay your loans out of school now for that. So,
Off topic, I did want to, my daughter is in the library club with Miss Art, and I don't know. It's a wonderful program. She's a wonderful librarian, teacher, influence on the kids. It's a beautiful library at the middle school. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if there's any decisions happening, but I'm very pro Miss Art and the library. at the middle school.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Decision.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
And I guess for me, really, it's about protecting the taxpayer from a potentially massive increase before we know what's gonna happen. Anything else on the public hearing?
Just once we know more, we can make better decisions.
All right, I'm gonna close the public hearing. And what's next? Public input. All right, open for 30 minutes. Anyone for public input? Student representative to the school board, Mr.
Okay, so I don't have a lot. And I am working right now on a new form, but it's gonna be a miniature version. I've sent some stuff to Mr. Danable. I'm working, because it's gonna be about the cafeteria, and I basically just got sent questions that the food director wants answered. So the next Monday that we have school, they should be more than ready to be sent out. And I am working with the food director to get stuff done. So, and I can't really say anything, but like, it is improving. I can, with certainty, the lunches and the breakfasts will be improving. So
Things take time. They take time.
they'll be,
How old is that, big fella?
Writing it down, huh?
Writing it down. Jen, make sure those are in the minutes.
Time to stamp it.
Mr. Ethan Harmon says.
Gonna make it happen.
Get the first name correct. Good job, buddy. I appreciate it, but thank you. That, if you can make that happen, that's awesome.
and I have been seeing just the lunch menu in general, it's definitely been like shaking up, and just changing around, and
How about the lunch lines? Are they getting bigger?
it's kind of hard each day, like, especially since I only have one, like, second lunch, I can't see first lunch, so
Yeah.
can't really say much about that. Another difficulty with me talking to the food director is I'm on very limited time, so I can't it's very hard for me to make plans when there's a new student rep coming. And I planned, because in my circle, it was what I understood the elections would be tomorrow. But obviously they aren't. They're going to be next week. So that's why I didn't.
Next.
2 weeks.
Next week it's vacation, so
I like that. Next week.
first week of March.
Not this week, next week.
So
He's gonna, yeah.
So will we have
Like asking, was it yellow or was it yellow?
Yeah. Are we gonna have a new student rep before the election? Is that what we're getting at? Or,
Yeah, right after the election.
It'd be right at the same time we.
so he's got one more meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
first.
So
first
get
Wednesday
your
of
pardons in,
March.
bro. Run it to the wire. Get everything you can do.
So, Site Council is talking about a lot of things. They're talking about clubs. And so to what Mr. Sommier said over there, about like book clubs, I don't know what Mr. Daniel was thinking, but from what I'm seeing, Site Council is talking about, I don't see that happening at all until something happens with the current club.
Scheduling issues, right?
Yeah,
We have clubs during ramp.
I don't think if the scheduling like that continues, I don't want to do their job for them, but I'm going to say it. If scheduling for clubs continues like that, I find it very, very unlikely that new clubs will be formed. I don't know how they would be. I don't know how new clubs would be formed at all.
I agree with you.
And for clarity, the situation is what, half and half? Has to be
Yes.
after school?
Yes.
Half to-
Yes, if it's a paid position,
Hmm.
they're allowed to have
All
one.
right, so it's a
Yes,
salary.
during the school day, and they need to have one after school. If it's an unpaid position, then we can talk.
I got you. Because you don't want to be paying a stipend for someone that's doing a
We're getting already-
during the
Yes.
contractually
I get
obligated.
yelled at for
Yeah.
double dipping all the time.
Oh, no, I completely,
People, my payroll people,
so
all the
that's,
time.
that's really not up to us. It's not anything.
Boy, you didn't call me out.
All right, that's,
I saw the hand was cocked like, you were ready. You were like, eh.
that's a little bit stickier situation.
I mean, that's what, I think that's what Site Council, gonna go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I think that's what Site Council is gearing up to do. I want to see what they're actually capable of doing.
There we go. Throw it down.
I'm expecting, I think they're gonna be able to do it.
What are they gonna do? Get a warning? Are they marching on my office?
Really not giving me,
Give me ideas.
When you see the torches and pitchforks run.
As long as they're LED torches, we don't want any real flames.
Yes.
It's not allowed on school property.
I'm going with the British version of torch, which is just a flashlight.
All right, yeah. Perfect.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think the club situation as of right now is working out. I don't know what it'll take to like go back. But
DeLorean, I know flux capacitor.
if I had one wish, and I could wish upon a star, it would be for the clubs to come back. I don't know. That's just,
So it's because they have to have one during the day and we can't pay that person twice.
Oh, we
Because they're getting a stipend.
can't, we don't want
You
to.
can't get paid,
Yeah.
but you're getting paid.
Yeah, for the same time. Yeah.
So we pay them to go after school. Once, we actually compromised, said you can have one during the day and one after school.
And they still get the full stipend.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a pretty.
So is there this might be a weird question, and maybe you guys already sort of talked about it, but is there an unpaid version of someone who could
If
support a
someone wants to
club?
have an unpaid club, I don't think anyone would object.
I certainly.
So someone could do a club, it just wouldn't get a full stipend if they
They
did,
would not get a stipend,
but if they did like one during the day and one after school.
and they would get a stipend.
So there's some flexibility, but people
Absolutely.
aren't doing it. Okay, that's too bad.
And after school is an issue for what, transportation? I'm saying, obviously, our kids just get out of here.
well, I mean, for Site Council, I mean, I don't even know if we're meeting tomorrow. And it's just like, cause it's just so hard because when we do have meetings, there was 2 people there, except for like the officers, but there was 2 people there and it lasted like 10, 20 minutes, probably less than that. And it's, I don't know.
That'd be frustrating.
Because, you know, you don't want 2 people speaking for the whole school.
Yeah, you want
It's,
people.
it's like a town deliberative.
Yeah.
Welcome to our life.
Look out, it's a crowd. Just come to see us.
But hey, if you do it wrong, though, you know.
Oh, when the kids are here, we always get a good crowd.
Yeah. It's not always easy.
I'm really looking forward to what the cafeteria is going to be cooking up.
We didn't on a positive, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I just really wish they started that last year so I'd be able to do it, but I'm gonna have to pass it on to somebody else. Which sucks. At least it's being done, you know. But
Yeah.
that's it for my.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'd like to interject.
Leatherman.
US 1, 2-1. Copy.
Yes.
Oh, you do?
We already knew that.
Yeah.
Well, you at the beginning of the meeting.
You don't have to.
I missed it. Thanks for sharing.
Why do you think John was late? He was waiting to see what was gonna happen.
I didn't know they won.
Literally as I'm walking out the door.
No tea.
I'm out.
We missed that whole conversation.
I was focused on getting my agenda up, being prepared, reading
Gary had
everything.
lots of stress happening when we first came in.
Great.
That's all right.
Had to lighten the mood. That didn't work.
All right.
It did for us.
Monthly financial update.
A little tired. So your first page is 7 months ending, January 31st, 2026. So as far as revenue goes, I expect to have the current appropriations, the state adequacy, the state education. I expect all of that to come in, as well as the building aid. You can see that the special education aid, we received $320,000 more than what we budgeted. I still expect the after school and the before school program to come in. We are already over, received more than the revenue we budgeted for tuitions. Impact fees came in 21,000 less than what we budgeted for. Still working on indirect costs, vocational aid and charter school aid, those came in more. And then if you look at the other revenues, there's $360,000 that we received there. That $360,000 itself is for is from Eversource for 90% of the project that we had done here, but that's got to go back to pay EEI. So that will be gone, but it needs to be recorded for there for now. So you'll see the flip side on the expense at some point that I have not encumbered yet, because I'm not sure where to encumber that to. And then if we go over to the expenses, I'm not gonna lie, I think this is the most stressful year I've had financially here, being on the budget freeze for as long as we've had. And I think we'll continue to do that. Terry and I plan to meet in regards to the financials to see some of the things that we can maybe alleviate. As you know, when we go through the budget process, I do try to encumber certain things that are not there that should be there, such as like supplies, new equipment, books, software, all that kind of stuff that maybe a purchase order isn't there yet. But as of right now, I've left $25,000 in the courses, tuition and workshop line, because we typically do not fully expend that, but we are obligated if somebody does take those. But we typically have about $25,000 left there, so I've left that. Anything else that really wasn't further encumbered, I kind of tried to figure out where we were last year in regards to it. We have not let anybody encumber anything else that has not been there. But general supplies, we do have $41,000 there. I did that to zero that out, as well as reimbursement for travel, maintenance supplies, $33,000 for the wood chips that is now in the system. But if you'll look at that line, I'm anticipating 106,000 left. Books, periodicals and software, 55,000. Equipment and furniture, 24,000. So right now, I'm expecting us to have a shortfall of about $483,000. 280 of that is due to the Barker Architects, and 258 is due to the lease that we have due. So with those, we would be 528, but right now 483. But Terry and I are going to go look and see what things that we can probably unencumber to save money to make our bottom line look better.
The architectural and engineering services,
Mhm.
I could be wrong here, but I thought we took that out of the. We not take that out of CRF?
We voted that that's where it comes from,
So we haven't taken it out
if
yet.
we needed to.
If we needed to.
It hasn't
That's why.
done.
So that's why I believe
The hope was, I think,
the both of those things with the lease and the Barker Architects, if we were over by those, I believe it's up to you guys if you want to take that out of the capital reserve fund. But right now, we're just kind of leaving them here to see if we have the money for it at the end of the year.
have we looked at stop hiring? Those types of issues, those types of things?
The only things that I can't stop hiring paras, but we really.
Correct.
Yeah, but I'm not looking to hire an SRO. I'm not looking to hire a reading specialist. That would be it.
For example, we have a long-term substitute for kindergarten. I'm not suggesting that, but that's an example of something where shifting people around because we're spending money we don't have. And what organization does that?
Do we have a lot of open positions like that?
Well,
The board's pretty filled up in that.
Well, that's summer stuff. So I've got a teacher who's going on maternity leave. So no, I haven't done that.
Well, we should be looking at it, shouldn't we? Because again, we're spending money we don't have.
That's what the board would like me to do.
Well, I could definitely see like kindergarten because it's a little bit easier.
Well, no, see, to me, there's 5 teachers, right, at kindergarten, I think, and there's 84 students. I wouldn't suggest we have 21 students in kindergarten, because that's what it would be if we went down to 4. But I was just using that as an example as to something we need to look at, you know, or can we move a 3rd grader down to do, you know, for a 3rd grade teacher or something? Because again, we're spending money we don't have. And since we've been on a freeze, it's only gotten worse. And I'm not saying that it's because of anything anybody's doing. It's just because we've got expenses that we have to expend. And we are expending them. You know, I looked at, for example, the supplies. I'm saying, don't buy any more supplies.
We're not.
Well, we spent 11,000 between February and December and January. Because I looked at the numbers.
Those purchase orders were already in place.
Yeah, well, again, I'm just using the numbers that are in front.
I mean,
And all I'm saying is that we need to look at and saying, okay, we're not gonna refill these. You know, if we're repairing something, yeah, you gotta repair it. Do we have to buy new anything? I would say, unless it's required to have, you know, like, I don't know what something new would be as opposed to a repair or replacement. But I would say, listen, just don't buy anything new.
I know I got a washing machine broken. We're not fixing.
No, I don't,
So I'm just saying, we had a washing machine break and we're not fixing it.
yeah, and and if we're doing that and it's more expensive to do something else, then let's buy the new machine. But because obviously we're washing something, so something's gotta, we gotta spend.
Walking down the hallway and using the one in the maintenance room.
Oh, okay.
So, but again,
Right.
you know.
And that's all I'm looking for is making sure we're doing those things because again, we have several openings that are for this year. And I know a lot of them are for the summer, so it doesn't impact this budget or for next year. But again, you should be looking at it and saying, we're not going to hire these positions. Because again, we don't have the money. I don't know how we can, as a board, justify filling positions when we don't have the money to fill them.
You mentioned the person on paternity leave, but we're still paying that person anyhow.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not paying a sum. Yeah.
I just want to
Well,
make sure
if they
that,
have sick time, if they're out of sick time.
Well, I don't think there's individuals, do I think they're fine?
I just want to make sure that the person you're probably talking about, so I'm trying to configure this, so I don't, I just don't want to, because it's going to be hard because you're in the middle of a class year, try to juggle those people around.
We have to redistribute.
Some of those people are in full classes, or year-long classes, so you'd be moving them 3/4 of a year. 3/4 of a year out to
Yeah.
different classes.
Back to the old COVID days and pivot. We used to pivot all the time. Pivot, pivot.
Some things you can pivot for, like, yeah, there's several of them, but other ones you can't because you have classes around it.
It's not with that attitude.
Is it can we say what school the person is in? Like high school, middle school?
I'd rather
Okay.
All I
Alright,
said
no,
was.
that's why I asked.
Getting in the weeds here.
Well, I think your point being that we should maybe do a hiring freeze that sparked some other ideas, that's all. Because I guess my question was, other than the person who could potentially replace this person who might be going out on maternity, are there a lot of other positions that we are currently, besides Paris, that are
Reading specialist open that I'm not trying to fill, and the SRO I'm not trying to fill.
those the only other two?
Other than long-term sub. That's it. I think we've got, the top of my head, one person, maybe 2 people going out.
Right. So,
So, I mean, if we don't want to fill them, then I won't fill them and we will take those kids and disperse them throughout the grades.
can you give us more information on what those class sizes would look like if we do that? And the
In our
Friday?
Friday memo.
Yeah. Just because it's, we got to look at it. I'd want to know what those numbers look like.
So on the student transportation side, I'm guessing that's mostly special education.
Yeah, I think, like, what is it? 70% of that cost or something.
What was that question? Missed it.
Student transportation.
2.2, and I think regular ed is about 650 or something.
Guessing that
Hmm?
must be special education. That was on.
I think it was like 190 over special education, transportation. Memory serves me, I looked at it today.
500, 519, it's on the detail on page 12. It is $200,000 over.
Yeah. Anything else on that?
Was the board, what's the board's position on holding on hiring, I guess? We all know my opinion, so.
I mean, it kind of sounds like they already are holding it.
I have a dumb question before we move on here. Student tuitions and, down, correct, this year?
Yeah, on this
The deck page down by about $425,000.
Page marker.
So, page 13, sped tuition private high school, we have 440,000 left there. And sped tuition private middle school with the elementary school, those kind of offset each other. They cancel each other out. One's over, one's under.
The high school, though, that
Are you at the 500, 561? Is that-
561 through 569, yep. So, right, so it's looking about $424,000 left in those lines.
Obviously, we're sending less students out of district.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we paying so much more on transportation costs for special education? Are you going someplace different than we anticipated from last year?
Sure.
Well, I mean, but we have less students, but we're paying.
they could need a monitors. or like
15%
this.
more.
It could be a million different things now.
Oh, it could be, but that's a lot less I mean, if you take an average of, 60, 70, that five, that, $60,000, $70,000, you're talking quite a few students that we have not going to out of district, but we're paying.
I can ask Julian Holmes and find out why that's.
Right, but they could have been sharing a bus. It could have been, again, there's.
Well, that's what I
million
want to know. I
different
mean,
things.
why are we, yeah, but even if you were sharing, I mean,
Or maybe they need 6 wheelchair
Maybe,
buses. I don't know.
maybe the other students in the other districts that were sharing, I know we weren't sharing too many people. I think it was only like 2 or 3 last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
0.4 million.
But that cost is not, no. Anything else on that?
So I guess to John's question, are we essentially holding on all hiring already?
Oh, yeah, one more question. Communications too. What did we buy? Was that? for-
That's with the whole, copper
Yeah, we're
line.
paying them, so.
Well, we've come to a resolution, I do believe.
So we've been going back and Terry has been going back
Sent
and
a real
forth
nice
with them.
letter off.
And we just, I believe, received our last invoices from them that were presented tonight. What I'm going to do is, because Terry emailed them last week, and in the meantime, we received the last invoices. So I just issued them tonight. I'm gonna hold on to them until we hear clarification from them,
We got a good,
because we,
quite a.
Pull those lines out.
I've been 40 grand.
Scrap them?
yeah,
How does that work? They come and take the lines out or what?
I don't know what they're doing, but I don't care. I'm done. Basically, I think we were paying for the big box. That was the big thing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the junction box.
What? I just have one.
Pop it off the wall, take it with you.
Yeah, so. We met, did some research and then did some math and then basically said, I don't want to get into the details, but here's the increase. Here's this, I demand this, and all of a sudden,
Could that line go down?
we're not paying for any more copper phone lines.
Well, I mean, right now we're
Right.
at $178,000 over budget. Is that going to go down then?
because those are bills that we already paid until we realized, holy smokes, we're not gonna
I would-
get credit, but they.
I'd have to look at it and then depending on what happens, look at the encumbrance, the PO
Yeah.
that's there, because it's not only that one. So, because we were canceling one and we had two. We were told to consolidate with one because it was gonna save us money. So we've been consolidating with one, but the more we consolidated with the other one, this one over here, the prices just went up astronomical. Like it didn't make any sense. So I have two companies there that I'm gonna have to go and adjust their purchase orders after that. The one that we're currently paying is probably district-wide, $2,500, $3,000 a month compared to what the other place was paying.
One copper line.
Yeah. At each location. Yeah.
You're probably paying for the remaining infrastructure, like your electricity delivery charge, you know?
The reasoning was that, and according to them, they can just raise their increase whenever.
They don't have to go
And it
through
was about,
Public Utilities Commission, they can.
calculated it was what, like 4,900, 49,000?
$4,000 increase over 3 years.
They did the same thing to the town, like digital what?
Because they can.
Yeah.
That's essentially what they said. Why do we raise our prices? Because we can.
Capitalism.
Terms and conditions.
And we were kind of like, you raised it this much in a year? How was that feasible?
What
It
company?
was like,
You don't-
49,000%.
They don't have to go through the Utilities Commission, they
No,
can
no.
just,
There's no legal recourse for us.
that's kind of,
Well, we're
Okay.
moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right, are we done with that?
I don't think so. I think Steve still had questions.
Well,
They just-
John had a question. We never really got there.
Well,
So
okay.
what I understood was what you said was you're essentially not trying to hire anybody right now.
I don't know about kindergarten. I think she's going out in a day or two, so I think that.
No, I had said to myself, that was an example.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
Not filling that position, but unless you can fill it from within the building.
Yeah.
Moving a teacher, literally. And I don't know if that's what you want to do or we want to do, but again, it's those types of things that we need to look at because again, we're spending money we don't have.
I'm gonna, go ahead.
Yeah. My only real question was, is that the only one that we were even thinking about?
No,
So let us, that's what I'd want to know, because I guess if we don't have to bring people in, then let's not. But if that case we need one, then, you know,
I'm going to just rely on the superintendent's best judgment and to do what he needs to do with what he's got.
We'll go through all the purchase orders and see what we can eliminate and what needs to stay.
just looking at Friday's memo to see how many open positions there are.
Yeah.
What's wrong with my birthday? So that's easy.
It was your birthday.
when is your birthday?
It was last Friday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
That wasn't in the Friday memo, by the
No,
way.
That wasn't in the school announcements either.
I think you should have the senior class get up and sing happy birthday to Mr.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
I can totally arrange that. Yeah.
We need a
They'll all-
banner.
They'll all listen to me. Yeah.
Right now, we have the reading writing specialist. That one's not after school aid. Okay, French. French FCS is open.
Yeah, that was one I didn't think we could do anything about because.
I don't want to credits, right?
Well, that was my, he's giving it away now, but that's what I was kind of like, how do you, because they're full course credits. I mean, how do you pivot? I mean, it's not like we have 5 French teachers.
Go again. Well,
I mean, Mr. Danimel's going to teach French. That's what he's.
that's just, how do I say this?
Baking.
It is-
Je m'appelle
Can you do
Etienne.
baking?
Je t'appelle tu?
What's the plan for that? Yeah. Is it an actual French teacher? That's what I'm trying to get at. Always in code.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I wanted you, because we didn't have someone in French, then what would be the plan? So now we actually have someone that is certified.
Yes, and this person who we interviewed is certified, does have French teaching certificate.
Right, so, okay. Gonna have to roll it out.
No, like I said, yeah, so basically there's all three. It's not like you've got 5 third-grade classes and if you consolidate, then they're all in the same, where French is the single. So.
There you know what to do.
I got it. I know, yeah.
Anything else? Are we clear? Did we get the answer?
Food service.
Good questions?
It's got food service to cover. Right?
So food,
Sorry, go ahead.
so food service right now with the actuals and the encumbrances, we're looking at a shortfall of 14,153.
Current.
Yeah, just through January.
Currently at
Yeah,
unpaid lunch balance.
no, that's a journal entry I make at the end of the year. So, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get a chance to do it before the next meeting, but the auditors are requesting that we break out vending versus à la carte. So that is something on the back end of my burner that I've got to do, but we don't have our audit yet, so. That's where I'm at.
And according to Ethan, those numbers should go down. So
Yeah, I want to see some sales because that will go down if we get that done.
I did see a lot more people go into the regular line today. I think it's because like there were 2 options. I don't know if there's always 2 options, but I remember there being 2 options today and they were like really different. So that was really cool.
So what I would like to know is how, because it's a lot lower number than previous years. About $75,000 for a transfer, $150,000 for a transfer. What's she doing differently to keep that number low?
It's because we've been short-staffed.
Does it work?
Salary, yeah.
So,
Magic sauce going on here.
no, so she was short-staffed and now she's at the point where she's, moving people around to different buildings. And that might be why you had like 2 different lunches today, because I know that she did transfer somebody up here from somewhere else and maybe there were different ideas floating around and stuff like that.
It was
Maybe now that they're fully staffed here, I believe they are. So now they have more time to promote other things.
like one option was like a lasagna, but made out of like macaroni and cheese. And then the other option was like kind of like a taco bag, kind of. So really different options, but
Taco
You
bag.
gotta work on your marketing.
That's what it is, though. It's a taco bag. A taco in a bag.
Really?
It is.
And so my friends actually got the 2 different things because they both didn't like the other option. So that was really good.
When I was substituting over, they had taco in a bag. I didn't get it, to be honest with you. Kids loved it. I just didn't get it. So,
Isn't that Doritos, basically?
yeah, basically. That's what. Yeah.
I have a hard time picturing a taco in a bag.
It just sounds so messy to me.
Yeah,
That's good. It's
why not just put it in a shell
Or a bowl.
or a bowl?
I'd take it in a cup. Oh, gee.
We have gone into the weeds of the school lunch list.
Anything else on financial update?
Thank you, Mark.
Freeman High School Principal's Report, Mr. Daniel.
Repeat.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Only an hour behind schedule, Pete.
It's all good.
Say right early again.
See, you should know by now.
Why did you say
When
it?
you start going, oh, it's gonna be a quick one, you kiss of death.
Why have you been here? No, not yet. Marjorie, get it ready.
Why even tempt fate by saying it or thinking it? Like when someone's throwing a no-hitter, you don't say, he's throwing a no-hitter. You quietly acknowledge it and hope for the best.
It's so hard. You have no idea.
Wait till our agenda meeting tomorrow. Chaos.
You can't even say it's gonna be quick in the agenda meeting or that.
No, I know those are long now.
No. All this-
Yeah, but most of that's not real.
Well, good evening. Thank you. We had a fairly good Q2 here at the high school. Couple highlights from our overview. Want to point out that we did have 14 students inducted into the NHS mid-November this year. That now brings us up to 33 students. So we're extremely proud of the hard work that those new students put in, as well as the continued efforts by our returning members of NHS. In December, big event. We had our winter concert and our Rotary breakfast. In the spirit of giving back, opening up the doors, welcoming the Rotary for all their volunteer service. Mr. Lacasse and the band do a tremendous job with this. They spend a lot of time cooking, preparing the night before, and in the food room early. I usually myself get to school at about 6 a.m. and they were there. When they do this, they're in there at about 5:30 in the morning, setting up, cooking, and finishing up. So kudos to them. They do a really nice job. Athletic season tonight. We do have a girls basketball game going on. I'm waiting on updates from our AD to see how we do there. But had pretty good turnout this year for our sports. We had enough for a JV team for both boys and girls basketball, a bowling team, cheerleading, wrestling, indoor track, and had some kids doing some unified basketball as well, in which just this past week we had a unified team against the staff. Staff put up some good numbers, but we were not close. We lost by a lot. So that's all right. Good for them. Acknowledgements, couple things to point out here. Just our staff on our January 16th Professional Development Day. If you guys could have been there to see the work that they were doing throughout that day, I think you guys would all been impressed. They spent the entire morning working, quick little break, and then spent 2 hours in the afternoon as well. We're working on rubrics. We're working on going to revisiting our Portrait of a Graduate coming up again. They really did a great job. So very, very happy with all of that. Definitely want a quick shout out to some more students here. Junior Eleanor Brewitt and Evan Poison. Those were the recipients of our Q2 Student Recognition Awards. Those awards get nominated by teachers. They have to write a little blurb as to what the student's done and why they deserve this recognition. Then it gets sent out to the staff, and the staff all vote based on the blurb that one teacher or teachers, whoever, supported. So congratulations to them.
It's like a nomination process almost.
Yep.
Cool.
Penguin Plunge was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, February 7th. 2 weeks ago, sorry. And we finished sixth in the state with over $14,600 raised. For a smaller school to raise that much money, staff and students together, they did a tremendous job. And 3 team members, I actually think that might be wrong. I apologize. I think it's actually 4 team members raised over $1,000 each.
Awesome.
Our academic help session for Q2, we had 31 students scheduled for Q2, 26 attended, and 15 of those recovered grades back to passing. So, congratulations to them for all the work that they put in. Challenges that we're facing right now at the high school, it's just our RAM time. Students seem to be wandering a bit more than they should be during that time. We are addressing that, as well as our bathrooms. That's been an ongoing issue here for a bit, but we are addressing that. Our staff is working, our admin and staff are working together to come up with a comprehensive plan for the RAM time, for phone use, things like that, to see what's something that we can enact that's going to be sustainable, feasible, and supports the integrity of our policies and state law as far as that. So how are we going to make this work that we can, kind of put together? So our staff is working together. Had a meeting about it yesterday. Right now, department heads have that information and are going to be working in their department to essentially kind of come up with a plan that they think is going to be sustainable. We'll put all that together and with their input, come up with the best possible plan. discipline numbers, our discipline numbers did go up a little bit here. And specifically, that was mostly through our freshman and sophomore numbers. Our freshman numbers went from 277 for referrals in Q1 up to 333. And then our sophomores went from 132 referrals up to 177 referrals. So that essentially took the big chunk of our increase in student discipline.
Yeah, I'd just like to take a moment to commend the senior class for figuring it out. Like, congratulations.
Yeah, honestly, our seniors are outstanding.
Yeah, that's,
As a group, as a whole, they are outstanding, doing a very good job.
okay. John?
Yeah, we talked about it last time, last quarter, and it was like just only a few more total referrals for them. So kudos to them. I do have a question on full day. I'm assuming it's restorative practice room. We have 19 total for Q2. Full day. And then the number of students is 42 on there. How do we get so that if we have 19 of them, how do we referrals or whatever you want to call it? Could you walk me through how those numbers are? Because the way I look at it, if somebody's in there for a full day, if you have 19 of them, that means there's only 19 students because it's a full day. Or am I looking at it wrong?
The 42 would be repeat students. If that makes sense. So 19 would be the full day, but you're looking at a student. Oh, I don't think about that backwards, aren't I?
That's what I got confused about.
Let me
Because
look into that number.
if you
just
would,
to verify that.
just because I looked at the first quarter and it made sense to me when I looked at it because it was 10 and then it was number of students was 10. So I just, if you could just, get back to us.
I'll definitely get you that.
Thank you, Pete.
I'm looking for that one. Our top 5 infractions for Q2 were defiance, disruption, skipping class, tardy, and inappropriate language. And if we scroll down here, these are our actual totals for the year thus far. Total number is up, but again, I think that's looking at because the freshman, sophomore numbers as a whole, went up considerably.
And I see tech violations did not make the top 5 for Q2, so I'm guessing.
I think it's more of, it's in the others in the sense that it's either defiance. I'm not going to give you that phone, right? Because you've had that conversation with
We
us.
had that conversation, yes.
Disruption. If I have my phone, it's a disruption potentially, whatever.
Depending on how it's coded in, yeah. And Ms. McCann does a good job like going into the description and seeing, is it just a phone violation or technology violation? Or did it start as that and then turned into something bigger and making sure it's coded correctly?
I just want to say, like, throughout all of my high school years, the teachers have been really forgiving for like inappropriate language. So like having like these infractions of 50 is,
You got to try for it, you say?
yeah, you really gotta try for that. I mean, that's insane. So I'm really surprised that's there, but
Well, there's coarse language and then there's blatantly just being surly.
just want to point that out.
If you're talking in class and something inappropriate slips out, the teacher might give you a look, have the conversation, Ethan, hey, you know better. And you move on because you know it doesn't have, going on. But I think it's, a lot of that definitely in stuff.
Yeah.
Comes out.
I mean, people slip up. It happens to the best of us.
Wasn't you?
Fiddlesticks.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on, Q2 bullying reports. We did have 2 reports, both were investigated, one was substantiated.
I have a quick question about the bullying. So when you get one that's substantiated, I'm assuming that then there's a whole procedure in place to, like, how do you go about doing that? Just figure out what is the best course of action, whether it's separate them as best you can or try to have an intervention and mediate or try to resolve the issue or like whatever best suits that situation. I guess.
for mediation, we do like to try to do that, but we're not going to force.
Yeah, they have to be willing.
Those type of people would have to agree to come in and sit together. And typically, that would be either with, Ms. McCann, assistant principal kind of doing that and kind of they're letting the two students kind of hash it out. She's just kind of mediating it. But yeah, we block on E-Hall pass so they can't go to, the bathrooms and be in the hallways at the same time. We have, talked about when you leave one particular class, you have to go left and go use this stairwell because the other person's going to be coming from this way. So we've talked about, things like that, separate lunch tables. If they're in the same lunch and the schedule change can't be made. If they are in the same class and it is substantiated, we will look at moving, for lack of a better way, the bully.
Yeah.
Moving them out of that class as well and using that schedule would be the one getting changed.
Thank you.
Academic achievements, we did have 148 students make either the principal group list or the honor roll this year. We just had that celebration breakfast last week during RAM. If you guys, again, could have been in the cafeteria at that time, it was packed.
Saw the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Kids did a great job, super proud of them. Can't thank the parent core group enough for coming in and helping set all that up and, getting donations for food for us and spending their time here that morning. That was outstanding.
What's our total enrollment, Pete, at the high school?
313, I believe.
So we're at about
Just about
50% of our students at our high school are on the honor roll.
Are on the honor roll. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yep, that's outstanding.
I want to make a bad joke.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Let it go.
too.
Yeah, there's a few things, but I.
Yeah, no, 50% made the honor roll. I think that's a very important number.
Yeah, I think it's great. March, April, got some big events coming up. Mr. Raymond Pageant's coming up, the incoming 9th grade night coming up when we get back from vacation. Parent teacher conferences, lots of concerts. So we have a bunch of big events coming up here during quarter 3. Our total enrollment here, so we take a peek at this. We are at 313 numbers right now.
Sorry, it was right there. I didn't realize that.
That's
Sorry.
okay. We're getting that, buddy.
I have a,
Yeah, go ahead.
so on the enrollment here,
Mhm.
looks like that we have 25 out of all the other kids in every other grade, that they're all at the 9th grade level. Which is kind of scary because, so you have 10, 12th graders. I'm going to guess there's no way they're going to catch up from 9th grade to 12th grade level in 3 months.
I'm not sure how many fourth year students we have with freshman level credits.
Well, I'm just taking because you have, I'm guessing the entire 9th grade is at 9th grade level.
Yes.
They're there.
So those 70 are there.
That's 25 where they actually are. Because
Mhm.
it says 95 on the other side.
Right.
And yeah, total up the rest of them, it's exactly 25 kids. So all those other students must be at the 9th grade level.
Not necessarily, because in theory, for example, you could have 10, 12th graders that are actually juniors. And those numbers
They could
could go
cascade.
cascade down,
That's true too.
So they could just be one grade below.
yeah,
I was wrong.
All right,
giving
so
them all the benefit of the doubt.
can I squeeze in here with a question that pertains to, I was at a site council meeting last week, and this was one of the things that they had asked me about enrollment, right? And, eligibility, and what is it based on, year or credits?
That's what I was gonna ask about, because I forgot to talk about that in my report. I was gonna wait after him. So I'm gonna try to stay away from my opinions, but what Mr. Solomir said about like enrollment, and so how does that fit in with late arrival and early dismissal? How does that, are they just accounted for and we get the money? Or because
Average daily attendance, what you're asking about?
yeah, because
I don't know the
I'm not sure what the question actually is.
I think he's asking like for the state, how do you get the money? What's your average daily attendance consist of? I
If
guess.
somebody shows up late, are they counted as?
Do they take
Here?
the attendance
Is
at
that what
noon?
you're asking?
Well, I'm just like, because they might only come in for like one class, so do they still count or?
But like the seniors who can leave earlier.
Yes, they still count
Okay.
in this because those seniors who may only have one schedule, they're on some sort of alternate learning plan. Maybe they're doing extra ELOs. Maybe they're doing some Edmentum or online courses. So where they don't physically have to be in the building, they're still taking those academic classes in some capacity.
Hold on, let me get the specific question because I referred to Ethan and he went off somewhere else. He took a left turn on me. It's all right, though. It's no problem. So the question is, where was it? I thought it was on here.
I can.
If a student has senior credits but is not technically a senior age-wise, can they be granted the same privileges as seniors, such as not taking finals, early release, et cetera?
Yeah.
So how do you determine, is the grade determined by your enrollment or your credits? I guess is the question, right?
Credits.
So if you are ahead of the game and you have the credits to be a senior, then you are granted all the privileges as a senior.
Yeah, if you're ahead in credits and you're on track to technically graduate early, yes, you would be granted that same stuff as well.
Yeah, and even if you weren't, if you were a junior and you had senior credits.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to take finals because you have, I think it's 16 or more, right?
Right.
So if you have 16 or more, whatever grade, you get if you have an A or better, or an A minus or
I think
better,
it's 16, whatever it is.
in your class, you don't have to take the final exam.
I think it's 18 credits.
Is it 18? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's 24. Yeah, it's 18.
Yeah.
So if you have 18 as a junior,
That question came up last year because William goes, I don't have to take finals. I'm like, well, you're not a senior yet. It's like, well, according to my credits, I am.
Yeah, it's
Right.
It's off of credits.
yeah, if you're ahead, like you said, you can not have to take them if you have the grade to do it.
All right, so yeah, if you can bring that one back Ethan, as a yes.
Finally a win. No more negative Nancy.
You argued for it too. They didn't want it first. Yeah.
Let's skip the next meeting, leave with a win.
Take the win. Gonna do a mic drop.
Our academic data we can get to here in a minute. Open that up. Attendance, pretty much the same, roughly the same percentages and throughout that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. Absenteeism, lower, more absenteeism for the freshmen, but targets dismissals more for the upper. For the most part, we're seeing that as a whole. You see last year's quarter two data as well. Other concerns, so transportation, was not a major issue this particular winter season. We were working on, by the time I submitted this, we were still waiting on the one event. I can follow up on that. The unified basketball versus staff, and then the JV tournament, something we started this year as well. So Valentine's weekend tournament for our JV girls and boys basketball teams was this past weekend as well. Girls were on Saturday. And boys on Sunday.
And that's new, Pete, you said.
Yep.
Have we had a lot of JV teams?
This was the first year we had both boys and girls.
Thank you.
Since I've been here.
Yes, no, I understand. Yeah.
Grades.
Was pretty well attended, basketball tournaments. Good.
Yeah. Good. The AD, Mr. Gondet said it was fun. He did a great job. Yeah. All right, there you go. So with this, I think you'll scroll down here to see our total grades. I think with this, what kind of stuck out to me though. Again, I'm gonna, jump on what you guys said earlier. Kudos to our senior class, but with this one, I'm also gonna add in the juniors. 50% of juniors and seniors are receiving A's in their classes. I think that's a absolutely outstanding. So, you know, definitely great work. You know, seriously, that's just, you know, that's awesome. And then, on the flip side of that, we're looking at a quarter of the grades for freshmen were failing. And then when you tie academics to behaviors, those, you know, kind of go hand in hand. So that's one of the bigger things that really stood out to me. And then again, the massive jump here with 50% of seniors and juniors getting A's in classes, that, you know, outstanding.
Last year's ninth grade class, well, which is this year's 10th grade class, was supposed to be the rough and tough and hard to deal with class. Seems like this year's ninth grade class is, you know,
Up to the challenge.
yeah, to take that title away, especially when it comes to grades, because
Yeah.
even the grades weren't even close to this last year.
Correct.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, was it even close?
Yeah. It's,
No. So, sorry, Joe, I just wanted to. So what are we doing differently to help those individuals?
We're putting all of our behavior supports we're putting in place. We are working with them. Lots of one-on-one conversations we're having with the kids, you know, just pulling, hey, you know, and not just leading with the big discipline stuff. It's like, hey, what's going on? Why is this, you know, coming up? For example, I had just even today, a freshman sitting in the office. He was down there on his own accord. He wanted to, you know, share some information. He said hi. I said hi. I sat down in our little lobby there at the office and, you know, what's going on? How are things been going? So it's, you know, the more we get to have, you know, those types of conversations, the hope is that, you know, some of these behaviors can go down a little bit. Our behavior team here at school is doing a tremendous job. They're on the go all day long, you know, working with kids in classrooms, out of classrooms, writing potential plans kind of off the cuff for teachers, offering suggestions, helping them out. Academically, we are putting in as many of our explorations classes that we can to help to try to get those freshmen caught up a little bit more. This quarter three, which I can't believe, progress report is next Friday when we come back from school. That following week would open up our after school extra help session again for quarter three, since there are no sports technically going on at this time. We're opening it up to all students who want to come in and get some extra assistance and help. So we are trying to do what we can.
And what about during RAM? Are the students availing themselves of RAM appropriately?
You know, that is the question. I would say the overwhelming majority of them are. So yes, that is happening, but RAM is, because it's not as structured of a time, we do see a lot more, you know, issues around small. Honestly, we haven't had any major issues recently, but, you know, smaller issues, wandering, skipping RAMs, and we'll get them, bring them back.
Yeah, you know, I'm more looking at, we have a quarter of the population failing,
Yeah.
which means quarter of the freshmen should be out and about getting help from those teachers that are the class they're failing, right?
Right.
And that's, I'm just hoping that the students are actually going to where they're supposed to go and make it productive. And I know we can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. I understand that.
Yeah, that productivity piece is
The key. Yep. All right.
Ethan, you have something?
I mean, that's two things. I mean, that's what the academic help session's for, right? What you just talked about, the,
You have to.
Mhm.
yeah.
After school, yeah.
And also I do want to say that, like, a lot of people do actually, like, teachers, a lot of teachers, teachers in general, just like schedule the kids, but you know, like a lot of them just don't do it. Don't, like, they show up, but they don't do anything.
They don't make it productive.
And like, we're at the point of the year where the teachers have already talked to them like 100 times. And
So to that point, you got a teacher that has potentially what, say, like 4 or 5 kids coming to her RAM for help. That could happen potentially? Right, say a teacher has 5 or 6 kids that need help and they could.
If they're a teacher of freshman classes, they're gonna have more than somebody that doesn't have any freshman
So-
courses, right?
That teacher has 5 or 6 kids
Yes.
coming and, they've done what they can do to help the student with all the other things that are available with retakes and, like, kids have to try to fail. I don't think it's anything that we're not doing. Kids that are failing are, in my mind, going out of their way to do so. Just like the kids get in trouble for swearing.
And
They-
the reason I'm asking is, as we've talked about, there needs to be ownership.
Yeah.
From the student and the parents. And I'm just hoping that conversations are being had so that, again, you can call people, the parents, all you want. If they don't return your call or emails, again, there's nothing we can do about it. But I just want to make sure everything's being done
Yep.
that we can do.
Yeah, I know our staff are, encouraged, every time they send something, hey, we're like, hey, reach out to mom and dad, send a call, send a quick email. That's always one of the first things, we come back with. They're having problems with a student, kids failing, struggling, all of a sudden, yeah, we'll put them on our sit agenda to talk about, to see if there's any wraparound we can do. But it's always also, hey, let's make a phone call home. Let's send an email home, get that information there. And we also, encourage the teachers to do it the opposite way too. When good things are happening.
Right, no, absolutely.
Send that stuff home as well too, because you're gonna get that positive feedback. Because so many times, when the school calls or you see that email, you're saying,
Yes.
and all that stuff. So trying to beef it up that way,
Balance
so positive message home as well.
I think we should take a look at like the students, because I don't remember the grades being down that much in 8th grade. Take a look at the students last year and maybe see what students in that failing or very close to failing grade. I mean, we have 19% of our kids, 18.5% of our kids failing UAs, which I think I've never seen before. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of an eye-popping thing. I mean, something must have went awry between 8th grade and 9th grade. It's, for this to happen, because
It's a hot summer, dry and hot.
Well, with the transition between 8th and 9th grade.
It is.
A big challenge regardless.
Yes.
But yeah, I do agree that some of these numbers are, make you kind of scratch your head a little bit.
I mean, we've had math, people don't like math or don't like English. We've seen those numbers be a little high, but this is every single one, it's like, I'm guessing it's probably maybe the same students.
Yeah, it's like it's probably tied to the ones that are getting hundreds of office referrals and
It could be.
And then what do you do for that? I mean, again, I feel like we're doing everything, aside from sitting down and doing it for them. I think we're doing everything we possibly can for these kids to succeed.
But what I'm saying is, I just didn't see that many failures last year when they were in 8th grade. So what happened? Something had to have happened. And yes, going into high school is always difficult. So it's just the nature of the beast. It's been that way forever, and it's going to continue that way.
I mean, historically, the 9th grade has not been the best
Oh, no, it hasn't.
performing or behaved grade in the school. So I'm not really surprised by this.
I am, because it just wasn't that bad last year.
Well-
That's what I'm saying.
And it wasn't.
I mean, I
bad
kinda-
2 years ago.
I mean, we heard about the 10th grade, when they were coming from 8th to 9th grade, we were like, oh boy. But the grade before that, they were.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Nighty.
Grade before that was the common grade at the time. So,
Yeah. I agree.
You never know. It could just be the classes they're in together.
could be,
Who knows?
yeah, you just don't know. I mean,
That's what I was actually gonna say. I would be curious to see what it was 2 years ago when our sophomores and current freshmen were together as 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah,
What was that?
those 2 grades off the rails.
Together amped up, whereas last year they were separate, so.
Yeah, they're at the middle school though. They're the grades don't see each other often. Right?
Not a bunch for recess.
Terry, I mean, it's at the middle school, a 7th grader doesn't often see an 8th grader.
After school program.
7th and 8th grader, I would say 7th and 8th graders, bottom floor,
Well, the
6. Yeah, upstairs they mingle, downstairs they mingle, but there's not a lot of mingling upstairs and downstairs.
right, but I'm just saying that compared to a high school.
Oh, yeah, they're much,
Yes, the middle school,
Yep.
there tend to be some more separation.
Or curious to see if like these groups of students that are getting in trouble, was it the same groups getting in trouble? You know, like I said, in seventh, eighth grade,
Yeah.
you know, they,
Is there a trend?
yeah, I mean, are they known? Some people, when you get together, they get
Yeah.
a whole nother level. Curious to see what this year's senior class looked like in ninth grade, what their behavior numbers look like.
They're actually a pretty good class, I think, throughout.
Without numbers in front of me, I can't really.
My
My memory's not that good.
I know it's my son's class. This is the senior class this year. And my daughter's class was the one that was oh boy, better watch out for them. They're going into high school. I've seen both sides of the story now, so.
Anything else? Yeah, anything else on that? Or-
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Pete. Thank you.
So you gotta buy them seniors some ice cream.
Yeah, they're doing honestly a great job.
Yeah, that's just, I love it.
Thank you very
Keep
much.
it up. They're going to the Jersey Shore. We don't want to act like
Hey.
it's on the show, so.
That too.
They'll be fine.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next. New revised policies. Are we there already?
Do that.
Sure.
Policy JFBC, Education Freedom Account Participation Policy. This is in essence, because of Education Freedom Act, we're setting up how we're gonna get compensated or how much we're gonna get compensated for somebody that came in, for example, and wanted to take a freshman English class or whatever. How much we get paid, and then in the co-curriculars and there would be no fee for that. So that's the highlight of this new policy.
Sure.
Second policy?
Second.
Oh, we're at second reading. That was only one, all right.
All right.
Skip through.
You want me to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Policy CCA R organizational chart, no changes. I'll make a motion to accept the
Joe's law.
policy as presented.
I'll second.
Right, second by Steve, discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
And Joe was out. For Joe was out. Next up, EHLB, subpoenas involving district students, officials, employees and or records. It's the new policy. I'll make a motion to approve policy EHLB.
Second.
By Steve, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Joe was here for that one.
Now, policy JLCF, wellness policy. Make a motion to accept policy JLCF.
All right, second by Steve, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. And we got that. Committee reports. Anyone? All right.
Was there a building committee last night?
What's that?
Was there a building?
Yeah, there was one this week, no?
No.
Mhm.
Was there a budget committee last night?
Not that I'm aware of.
I was gonna say, I hope not.
So, sorry, Ryan said he was at a meeting. I'm like, what? I couldn't imagine what meeting he was at.
Candidate night last night.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, what was I doing Tuesday night? Candidates.
Guys, it was candidates night.
I think it helped.
Now I know why.
Yeah, we had a wellness committee meeting. It was between the last two meetings. I can't remember. So, they're doing their whole, I think I talked about this last time, actually.
Yeah, the state.
Triennial.
Triennial report. That's why they call it that, but
It's really important.
yeah.
Two times.
Got it? All right, superintendent report.
Open enrollment, once again, I do believe that the House has moved open enrollment to some sort of conference now, so it kind of slowed the roll where the Senate, and House are going to get together to discuss. I think the governor's also weighed in that the first one that's passed needs a little work. I did participate in the unified basketball game Friday. It was a lot of fun. It's been a long time since I played hoop.
On guard?
I did score the first points of the game, I will say. And I was like, hey, big fella, let the kids have fun, settle down.
The bench.
So, the doors on the silo.
Good, I saw it. Nice.
Well, right, wrong. They had an extensive crew out here. What's the name of the company? Anyway, the company, I can't remember the name of it, who's doing the work on the boiler, the wood boiler. Yes, they came out sometime last week and did a lot of work. As with anything that's new, a lot of things got banged around, jiggled, so we had a lot of sediment sitting in some filters. It was causing things to misfire, so they cleaned all the pipes out, they put new filters in, and since they've done all that, that thing has been firing every morning like clockwork. Mrs. Leatherman stopped by, she took a tour of the boiler room too, she was very impressed, I gave her the tour. She stopped by on Friday to say,
I don't think I've seen it yet.
we're good.
Do you want to tour?
It's on the agenda for next
All right.
next week, or as soon as we get back. Another bill too, that's been a lot of discussion is the Labor Day bill. I think that's 50-50 too, so I don't know if that's gonna gain enough traction or not.
What's the Labor Day bill?
All schools would have to start after Labor Day.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I heard that.
So again, I don't know. I don't know. I just do what I'm like, I just
Is that
do
a-
what I'm told.
Is that a HB or an SB?
I think it's HB.
Yeah. So
I heard a lot of talk on, a lot of people going after it, going, okay, you're taking time away one end, and you're adding it on the
Doesn't
other.
matter.
Yeah, what difference does it make?
I don't remember going back to school before Labor Day.
In
And we were
part
always
basing
up
the,
in June.
they're in part basing the legislators on, well, it keeps the students, the businesses are gonna be better.
Seacoast. Yep. And
But I'm thinking, at the other end, we're now, what was it, this year?
this year we wouldn't have
This
started until
coming year.
September 9th.
We would have,
This coming school year, because of the election and all that,
been in,
we wouldn't have started school till September 9th.
and then we would have gotten out in the twenties,
Late June, which again ties you up. You better not have a
right? A lot of
upper of a
snow.
winter.
That's a hockey
We've
season.
been lucky that
September. to
our snows typically have been hitting on the weekend. We had.
Yeah, we've gotten lucky with when it hits.
Yeah, we had, oh God, here we go. I should have, Terry, when will you learn? Here we go. Here we go. As soon as we get back from break.
Last time, and all of a sudden we
Wednesday.
had a day off.
But yeah, you run into trouble then, and then, everything has to be done by June 30th. There is no end.
I just, it makes no sense that they want to mandate it, like just suggest it, but like why make it a law? It just seems silly to me. Like let each school decide
We
what's
don't know
best for
well.
their school.
No, because the new thing is all these people that are, they call themselves free staters, but they love state control. They wanted the state to control everything, zoning, every single thing.
One of the biggest issues is somebody actually posted online, well, we can just go to school 20 minutes longer a day. And I was like, no, you can't, because if your school, they mandate how many hours you can go to school. And if you're at the hours maxed out, you can't go 20 more minutes a day.
306s, gotta change that then.
People always have an answer until they understand the parameters.
Anyway,
That's all I got.
Correspondence or other.
You did mention the Penguin Plan. I completely forgot about it for a second. Did you say something there? But I think it got canceled anyhow. They didn't get canceled. They went jumping into the
Plunge got
water.
canceled.
Plunge got canceled. This is a wee bit cold.
Too cold for a penguin.
But apparently the seas were pretty rough
Ice.
because of the snow.
It was the temperature that they were worried.
It was a temperature and it was a deliberative day. Remember with the weather that day?
Yeah.
Not a pleasant day to be outside at all.
You go in the water that's, below freezing and become out of
Couple
the water.
actually-
It's negative.
Couple was actually walking,
Actually colder out
fell
of
through
the
ice.
water.
You see that on the news?
Boston
I
there.
don't know, but I saw it. A dog was running around, like, oh, stray dog, but it led him to a lady who had fallen through, and then they just assumed the husband was there and they were looking for him.
Oh, okay, I heard about that.
Running around on ocean ice, like, okay, not recommended. Manifest signing.
Accounts payable tonight, $431,517.17. Payroll, $553,027.30 for a grand total of $984,544.47. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of February 4th, 2026.
Second.
All right. Second by Joe, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The minutes for February 4th, non-public. Can we unseal them? I didn't think we could. That's why I'm asking. I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes of February 4th. And, keep them sealed as they are repetition.
Second.
Joe, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make
Go
oh,
ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for February 7th, 2026.
Second.
Second by Steve. Oh, Joe. I'm John.
Somebody.
This is Jay.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll answer.
discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, second by John. Discussion. All those in favor? Good, thank you very much.
Makes you feel any better. My middle name is James, so I would also have been just. You could have just gone with any of it. Goodness.